And so I make a blog post. I write the announcement, and 2 days later, Ubuntu makes their own blog post that they're going to also drop X11 and all that. Up to the day where I published the blog post, like they were like people like for 3 weeks speculating of a single GitLab comment that was like, well, Ubuntu is not sure what it's gonna do if it's like if it will ship X11 for 2604. And for this single comment, there was like endless speculation for 3 weeks about if like GNOME wants to like destroy Ubuntu or not, and like do it explicitly to cause them harm.
Hey guys, it's Trafotin. Recently, I got to talk with GNOME's Jordan Petridis, and we're going to talk about a lot of things, ranging from the role of the GNOME Foundation, the work that GNOME is doing to work with things like accessibility, for example, how Linux packages are moving forward in the future, but most importantly of all, how your favorite content creator might be wasting the time and money of Linux developers near you. So sit back and hope you enjoy the podcast. What is your role with GNOME? Because I feel like, I feel like everyone has labeled you one thing, and I don't think anyone really knows, except for like the people who do know. I don't want to sound mean, but like...
Yeah, I get it. I am curious, like, what do you think my label is?
Release manager. And if we go by Linux losers, the guy who wrote a rant about Matthew Miller that went on for 6 pages.
That's accurate. Yeah, so I do various things, I guess. I started by writing an application, GNOME podcast, like years and years ago. And at some point, while I was trying to like, back then Flatpak was brand new, and I was like, okay, yeah, how I wrote this thing, how to like give it to people to test it and like give me feedback and all that. And I started looking at Flatpak, and I wanted my application to play MP3 because it's a podcast application, right? And there were like issues with that, and started digging deeper and deeper and deeper, and somewhere along the lines I went from like being an application developer to starting maintaining and fixing the Flatpak runtime so I can have like working audio playback, and then started doing CI things because Flatpak was like a great opportunity to standardize around the development environment and like CI and all that. Because the other brand new thing back then was like a GNOME Builder, where we would use Flatpak to abstract away all the distro runtimes and give everybody a working build environment and all that. And we're like, okay, yeah, now we are planning to move to GitLab. We can do the same thing on CI. It tied into like starting working on GNOME OS because we had like the Flatpak runtime and we had all the tooling now, and it was like trivial to like get a VM that could like test the same things, because there are only so much things you can like test with Flatpak. You still need a session and a graphical a compositor to like give you the display socket. You need an audio daemon and all that if you want to have complete testing and all that. So yeah, and after doing that, I ended up also like handling the GNOME releases in general, because the way that GNOME does releases is like there are like a lot of maintainers, individual maintainers for each module. So you have like somebody will do a release for glib, somebody will do a release for GTK, somebody will do a release for GNOME text editor, another for calculator, and then we have to like make sure that all of that compiles together and like it does not like explode, because all of the releases are happening individual of each other. So somebody needs to like gather them all up, make sure they work, they compiled, and then we can like release it and go and tell distributions, okay, yeah, this is like GNOME 49 alpha release. We have tested that it at least compiles. It probably launches as well. Well, nowadays it does, because again, it wasn't a guarantee back then. So yeah, that's more or less how my journey has been so far. So many different roles, and yeah.
It's funny that you bring all this up because I remember when I want to say it was like 2.5 years ago. You messaged me. This was because
Ooh,
you
yeah,
messaged me about TPM and GNOME OS, and at
yeah,
the
yeah.
time I did not possess a computer with TPM at all.
Yeah,
um,
I think I had seen like a video of yours that was, and you were like one of the few people that were actually getting what it was like, what's the gist of it, you know? But yeah, that's why.
I mean, it was like Microsoft has been trying for a couple years now to do it because it was an optional feature in Windows for a long
Mm-hmm.
time, um, but also because protect there needs to be protection for like full disk encryption, or else people will just can just brute force check passwords. And
Yes and no. I
yeah,
mean,
I mean,
full disk encryption is not that much of an issue because the way we do it with Lax on Linux is like
right. I know
we
I
have
meant
like
from to implement TPM with full disk encryption. That's the.
no.
It's not hard, right? It's just they've wanted to do
Uh,
it for a long time.
Oh, what they do now with the TPM is that they do unattended decryption of the key, but otherwise the TPM itself cannot is not fast enough to store to do the decryption on the hardware itself. What it does is like it decrypts the key that you use to decrypt the disk. So you will have your laptop and you will start measuring things, and if everything checks out, it will give you the decryption key to decrypt the disk and put the OS. It doesn't do the decryption itself.
Yeah. Really, what I've been looking for, what was it? I mean, I think it's very public knowledge that I use Universal Blue. I've hopped between like all of them, so like I know the whole shebang. Just don't hop from Secure Blue to the other ones. It creates problems. I know that from experience. Um, but the thing that really gets me is like I've been playing around with OpenSUSE Eon, and they have a thing where when you install it and have TPM set up, it just automatically sets up TPM for you, and it's just like here's a QR code for you to recover your computer in
Mm-hmm.
the event that your motherboard gets damaged or something. Like,
Yep.
and it's like, man, I wish like Windows did that too. Like that's pretty good.
Well, they
Like,
do the thing where they like show you. I guess they don't do it
well, they
anymore.
just make you
They
log
used to
into a
do the
Microsoft
thing.
account and hide all of that from you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they used to do the thing where they like show you here's your BitLocker key, write it down, which means you take a picture of it, and you take a picture of it, and that's it. Like stays in your photos, which I guess is not the most secure thing, but I guarantee you that's what 90% of people are doing.
Yeah. I mean that's also like the thing I was talking about that yesterday with other people, because we're doing like a thing where we try to get like other developers to use GNOME OS to like find a couple of bugs now in the setup. And the thing we have like a checklist of things what that people do. And does your laptop have a TPM2 chip that's like new enough? Did you copy the recovery key that we gave you? And it's like you see like a check, and almost nobody copied the recovery key. And like these are people that should know better that things might explode, because we had like a couple of times where we shipped like a system D update that changed some of the values in the PCRs of the TPM too, and like all of a sudden your disk wouldn't decrypt because the measurements were slightly different and we didn't recalculate them properly, and you could still like boot on the older one, but yeah. And like, yeah, now how do you like go and type into Plymouth 45 characters with dashes without being able to see it,
or
right?
if you
Because
use certain European keyboards which don't have the dash readily available.
or that, yes. So I had to do that the other day because I was like reformatting my an old laptop here, and was like, okay, yeah, I have the the hard disk is like now bound to the TPM, the encryption, but I still want to like put a password in it because I want to like grab the hard disk out of the laptop eventually. Now I have to like go find my phone that I took the picture of the recovery key and start typing into like a text field that's like into the terminal that shows me just stars, so I cannot even know if I typed it correctly. 45 characters until I get it right. I think on the third attempt I started writing into text editor and then copy pasting it and seeing if the yeah, because
This is
yeah,
why I question whether or not like 20 random words is would actually be easier, because
no,
well, no.
uh, no. I mean,
No.
it's like after a while. I mean, the best solution for that, usability wise, is with an online account, for better or worse.
Right.
Because yeah,
I
otherwise you
recently
have to
recovered
like.
my Monero wallet like a couple months ago, and that was a
Mm-hmm.
whole journey where it's like now it's like, oh, I gotta. There's all they make you write down so many things when you first set it up. It's like you got to write down your
Yep.
recovery phrase, you got to write down like your restore height and like all sorts of stuff, and then it's like when you
Mm-hmm.
finally do it, you wait like an hour for
Yeah.
the blockchain to sync up again, and then you're back. But it's like
And it's a really secure system on paper, but if nobody can use it, it doesn't
right,
matter.
yeah, everyone just uses a centralized exchange, and that's the end of that.
Yeah.
um,
Which is why for normal people, for like Apple and Windows, they require that you have an online account, because recovery
Exactly.
with an online account is just easier. It's easier for
Mm-hmm.
normal people to understand.
I think that's a very easy thing that I think people overlook because I remember that video I made about like all the stuff that Microsoft accounts do for people and how to do all of it manually. People were like complaining in the comments like, "Ooh, this is so hard," and I'm like, "You could just use a Microsoft account and then you don't deal with any of this." It's like,
I mean, what we need
Yeah.
is we need security keys to be a normal thing that we can expect
but they
people to
won't
have.
because it's been
Well,
shown that
yeah, well, it
cost
will never
barrier
ever happen.
is a problem.
Yeah, and then you have to keep a recovery of the security key.
Right, because when
Yeah,
you
that's
buy one
true.
security key, you're buying another one. That's like $90 minimum, like alone. Like especially
Eh,
in
there are
today's day
cheaper
and
ones,
age,
but
people are
yeah.
probably buying like the USB C ones, which are the UB keys.
Mm-hmm.
If we're just going by UB keys alone, that's like 55 US dollars. Like it's like $110 right there because you're buying two of them.
Mm-hmm. I
Yep.
mean, the usability of the thing is like, unless we find some way to like make every phone on the world with like an authentication device like that for everything, for like from the boot all the way up to the I don't know. It's like you cannot
Yeah,
do anything
I
better
guess
than an login account.
it's a hard solution, because inevitably you either the information needs to be stored on another device, or the authentication needs to happen through some cloud service. So if you said, "Oh, well, we'll do what everyone else does and we'll do phone numbers," well, then you have to keep track of the phone numbers, and then you have to have some kind of a service that sends phone numbers. And even if you said, "Well, we're not going to do that, we're going to do email," well, if you authenticate through email, you still have to have a cloud service that runs, that your device is connecting to the cloud in order to send that authentication, in order to have the decryption. And so yeah, it inevitably it's tough to get to get something that's easy to use for normal people.
Yeah, I mean the problem at hand is like you need to store a secret on some other place that can be accessible at any point, anytime, and you can retrieve it. And even if you like store it encrypted, you still need to store it somewhere, and somebody needs to be there to give it back to you, right? In the case something goes wrong, because yeah, that place can be your other laptop, that place can be your phone, that place can be some cloud service, but you need to store it somewhere. And if you like leave it with people, people will just lose their keys back again, like their backups or whatever. There will, yeah, who knows?
I've been trying to research dead man switches because as cruel
On
as
computers.
uh for passwords and stuff actually because this has actually been a worry that I have. My parents are getting older, so a concern that I have is like, oh well, how? But then the other concern is not just are they getting older, so I can recover their stuff. It's also, oh, what if I get hit by a bus? Who's gonna recover my life? Like, it's like that's gonna be like a nightmare. It's literally just like write down a Word document of like here's all the instructions and give this to like the person who's mildly technically savvy who's not me and then just
Yeah,
he's gonna do all of it. Like it's
yeah,
like and I worry about this all the time and it's like I just don't have a good answer. I mean for like
and that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more worried about them because like it's just like, I mean, I've gotten both of my parents to use Bitwarden. That at their age is a miracle. Thank God.
My
Actually, if my mom, I just took her phone and just changed the passwords to all of her stuff. But like that.
somewhat recently, my grandfather died, and we had a similar issue with this, where he was the root on like a whole bunch of accounts, and so like he was the one that like maintained the banks and things like that. And for the physical things like banks, you can walk into a bank with a piece of paper that says, "Hey, yeah, this person dies, and my grandmother is legally him, and so she can
Mm-hmm.
reclaim the account because legally she is him." But for things like computers, luckily, they had the good sense of having all of their passwords stored in a physical book.
Mm-hmm.
Physical
Yeah,
book that they
nice.
keep somewhere in the house. And it's like, yep, guess what? It's 100% unhackable.
Mm-hmm. For a lot of accounts, like Apple and Google accounts, I think the same thing that you do with
You have
the
to set
bank, you
up
can
a
also do it.
individual who can recover.
Yeah, you can set up
No, no, no. Yeah, even if that's not set up, a friend of mine had like lost his uncle well, not recent, a
yeah.
couple of years ago, and he had like a device. Then they went just took the the paper that says okay, yeah, he died. His spouse is like technically him, and like they went to Apple and they unlocked the account and all that.
Yeah, as long as you don't have if you have advanced data protection turned on, they can't do that because
All
Apple
right, yeah, does
physically
not
doesn't
have the
have
keys.
the key.
Yes,
But if you don't have
yes,
advanced data protection, they can do that because you can
yeah,
just go
yeah.
into the Apple
But you
store and you
have
can
it
have
turned
them
on,
reset their
right?
password.
You have it turned on, right? Before the UK government takes it away from all of us.
Yeah,
You
I
have
can't
it
do
turned
that.
on, right?
Yeah, I do. Do I? I think I do. I'm almost
It's
sure I
okay. It
do.
encrypts everything except your calendar and your
Just make
contacts.
sure you write down those recovery keys.
No, it's calendar and email.
It's on my photo roll, which is also on iCloud. Whoops, the recovery key. But yeah, it's on.
You don't
No,
want
it's
to.
also it's
I,
also
I've
elsewhere. But yes.
I've talked with people about this before. You don't want to take the key to your vault and put it
And put it
inside
in
of
the
your
vault.
vault.
Yes.
Because while inside of the vault is a remarkably safe place for your key, it is also the least helpful place for your key.
I know, I know.
So another question that I had for you, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't. Just because I know you've been involved with stuff like Linux App Summit, Guadec,
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, the GNOME Foundation, everyone's favorite
Mm.
desktop Linux
Topic.
foundation. Well, at least
Yes.
in the U.S. anyway.
Yes. The most gay one.
The most, as if the KDE one is too, but they're just in Germany.
Yeah, they cannot touch us. We are more gay. Yes.
Do you have
I will
any?
fight them on that.
What is it? I've always wondered what it's like, I guess, but I'm wondering if it's one of those things where it's like kind of invisible to most people and probably on purpose. Like
Mm.
because it's like
Mm-hmm.
not really the thing that you need to focus on, because it's more like operational stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's exactly that. Like, GNOME itself is like a very decentralized project and like very autonomous. Like, maintainers have like a lot of control over their projects, for better or worse. But also like the community as community itself, also like you we do not have like one person that like decides things or whatever or things like that, but also the maintainers have like a big say on the direction of their project that they maintain, right? So the GNOME Foundation is like there mostly to facilitate development. So it like takes care of the infrastructure, pays the bills for like the CI machines to run, for GitLab to continue to function, for discourse, for I don't know. It organizes the annual conference that we do and Linux App Summit along with KDE now. It still has it. I think it how's it called? It acts as the fiscal sponsor for FlatHub. I think still to this day, although they're
Yes.
setting up a different entity. That might be done already actually, but yeah, it does like a lot of like bureaucratic things that nobody wants to do, and like it doesn't have any say in the direction of the project. Like all that is like inside GNOME we have like different teams organized of like people. We have like the release team that like takes care of like releasing the thing and making sure that what we release is like it follows like proper licenses, proper CVs are looked at. We get, I don't know what else do we do. We do basic. We handle the, I don't know. They're releasing the tarball, the source code in general for people to consume it, for distributors mostly to consume. There's also the design team which takes care of the design side of things,
Human
and
interface
like
guidelines.
yeah, all that, making the icons, and the design team has like a lot of say in like where the direction of the project goes as well, because that's like design things, and essentially, they're like there's the engagement team that like does public media posts and all that. All of that volunteer, by the way. Like all of these teams, like self-organized and volunteer. What other teams are there? Translation team is its own entity that handles we have like GNOME has its own translation infrastructure. It's called Damned Lies, and it's like a bunch of people that like uh, translate GNOME because I don't know they like it also. I don't know. I've not yeah. There used to be a documentation team that would handle documentation and all that. But
I
yeah,
know Mattathias put out a thing for the documentation for GNOME recently.
yeah, that's why I said that it used to be. It's a bit in the it's in need of help, I guess. Yeah,
Truth,
but yeah,
what is it? Yelp is the program that
yes.
I've never opened in my entire life except by accident.
That does
Mm-hmm.
translation.
No, it's a help program. So like when you open it, it's like this is how you use
So
your computer.
yeah, so you
Like
know
Well,
how
so like tips on Apple.
no, more like
exactly like
tips
that.
on Windows. Like it has like the layout, I guess,
You,
but the
you,
same
you
in
know, one of
principle.
those applications on Mac that I would uninstall if Apple let me uninstall things.
I mean, the idea is that it would be like tips on macOS, yes. Like when you have like a weird setting or whatever, you see the question mark and you click it and it explains it to you. It gives you user documentation and all that. That's the idea behind it.
Okay, that's useful.
Yeah. I mean, if you go into the settings on macOS, they do that for a bunch of things.
I mean,
So
frankly, on Linux, I feel like it would be more useful than it is on Mac because on Mac, I mean, I
yeah,
kind of expect things to work a certain way on Mac. On Linux, I'm probably going to read the documentation on for whatever it is that I'm doing at some point.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the problem is that documentation most of them does not exist. So
Yeah, that's a pretty significant issue
What
a
was
lot
it?
of times.
I made that video about how to
Just
use like
man, whatever the thing
D-
is, and if it doesn't show up, wow, it's a hunt on Google.
I made that
yeah.
video about how to use like GNOME's default workflow, like, and then like someone was like to me, "Oh, but there's actually a way you have to do something different if you have like a German keyboard. There's like a different key combination you have to do because we don't have a tilde." I'm like, "That is interesting," and that was like in a page of documentation. I was like, I've never seen this in my life, but good to know.
Wait, German keyboards don't have a tilde like
No,
at
they do,
all.
they no, they do, but it's not like where it's expected, right? Like the
It's
way
not
the
right next to the one.
documentation as it's written expects you to the tilde to be like where it is on like an AZERTY or QWERTY keyboard, where it's like near the one on your keyboard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, usually we remap the key code, not the layout. But yeah,
Yeah, it's some,
I
but
would.
I think they did. It's just different, and it's one of those things that I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't know about, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So yeah. Anyway, the foundation like the foundation also handles elections, I guess, for the board. But again, the job of the board is like to keep the foundation in order and like make sure all of the other teams can like have the resources they need. Well, mostly infrastructure resources, not actually being paid to do that, but like yeah, like handle the conferences, the infrastructure for like the translations, the CI, all of that, GitLab. yeah, that's basically the job of the foundation.
There
There
was
is
an
I don't
AWS
uh
program
yeah
recently.
a lot of the infrastructure. So we used to have donated machines by some company that they gave us like so there were actually multiple companies. There was like a lot of the infrastructure was in a Red Hat data center hosted, and other infrastructure was dedicated machines by a cloud provider that they had like donated, and both of them happened to like basically within 2 months pull all of their infrastructure. Red
Hmm.
Hat went cloud only anyway, and like I think they disbanded their data center. They were hosting the machines, those ones, and like the other company like just said, okay, yeah, we can no longer like sponsor these machines for hosting things. So yeah, and we needed like somebody else to like pick up the bill and like host things because it's a lot of money and a lot of traffic, especially
Uh,
with like the AI craze and scraping.
well, it's like what, $20,000 at least, right?
Oh, more. Well, so when freedesktop.org had these issues, financial issues with like infrastructure, they were burning through a lot more of money. And GNOME is like a bigger instance of GitLab than freedesktop.org. Yeah, I don't even know how much it would be, because like even like we don't even have like a lot of telemetry anyway, because Linux and all that. But just like by the sheer download volume that we get from like hosting a Flatpak repository, hosting FlatHub, hosting the GNOME OS images and all that, it's like terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of data.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what is it? So that's what I wanted to sort of build upon. Let's build upon from there, right? Because we just
Mm-hmm.
talked about Flat Hub, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've said that you've packaged stuff for Flat Hub, and you did that talk this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
about flat packs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are your overall thoughts? Maybe ways that at least the ecosystem is going to change anyway, if there even is an
Ooh.
ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a lot because like I'm working on a written down version of the talk that I will eventually like publish anytime once I like find some free time to finish the blog post. But like this whole thing has like started for like decades now. Like the the application distribution uh, of binaries on Linux is like broken beyond belief, and it's like the model is like completely the opposite of what you would see in like Mac OS and Windows, where you would like have the operating system vendor, and then you would have the application developers that would give you the application based on what the system vendor like gave them to develop against. On Linux, we don't have them. We have like a very centralized model that's like it's impossible to work given the scale of like and like all the different versions of each different distribution and its different packets and its different version of the distribution, and like for both technical and social reasons. And I mean, it's big topic. I don't know, I'm not really sure how to like best summarize it, but what we started seeing with FlatHub and like Flatpak is like we started because like this had been like an unidentified problem for like years, like decades, for application and platform developers. But till Flatpak became a thing, we didn't have the technical solutions to be able to address the social issue underneath that. And with Flatpak, we kind of had like finally the Java thing of like compile once, runs everywhere, because it does not run everywhere. It runs against the Flatpak runtime because we ship a whole other distribution to make sure that your distribution will not interfere with the application, more or less, and the application will keep working and it can actually be tested and like reproducible and deterministic its behavior. So we saw like about a lot of like control being given back into application developers, but that's only like part of the story, because like applications are like one thing. You still like need the integration points and all, and like the rest of the system to also be able to be delivered. For like both the application developers need to have like a whole target to develop against. They need to have development guidelines. They need to have SDKs. They need to have like what other things? One second. Uh, documentation. Uh, you need to have like user support, an app store. You need to like have to distribute all of that, tooling, and Flatpak fix is only like part of the problem, right? And the thing is like in Linux we have like distributions one hand, but the distributions are not the ones that develop the software they ship to users. Uh, so yeah, until like we have like we are in a place where like developers are like in this weird place where they do not have like a concrete target to, like develop against. Desktop developers do not like know how their software will end up either into users, because like it can be like something from this year, can be something from 3 years ago, can be something that's patched and all that. And at the middle of it we have like distributions which like control how software gets to users, but they don't do anything to develop and support it. So the whole ecosystem is very fragmented, and like it cannot like be made to work cohesively easily, I'd
So
say.
unlike Linux and Mac that are trying to unify around specific hardware and specific build targets, Linux seems to be almost going in the opposite direction where it's getting more and more fragmented. And so
Yeah.
trying to get your new builds to people who want to use those builds is becoming increasingly more complicated, because in order to support every different distribution and every different method different distribution and every different method of distribution gets
Mm-hmm.
almost exponentially more complicated.
Yeah. So not all, it is exponential, and it's not only that. It's like it's every single distribution, every single update that the distribution ships. And when I say update, it's like not just like uh, okay, Fedora released like this week. There's like another Fedora update next week. No, it's like every single package update, because every single package update can interfere with another package and break something that's like in a third place, right? And then you have to like think of the actual versions of the distribution: Fedora 40, Fedora 41, 42, Ubuntu LTS, LTS, old LTS, Debian old stable, and all that. uh, and yeah, it's basically impossible to support everything together at the same time, because
Yeah, and you wonder
yeah, every
why
distribution
Linux
is like.
distributions throw
Mhm.
up their hands and just say we're just going to use app images.
I don't think any distribution says that.
Only
The
one does,
distribution,
and no one uses it.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, what the distributions will tell you is like all of these are solved problems if you use only our own tooling and you develop only for our own distro, maybe.
Because
So
like
if you
app
like,
images repeat that problem. It's you're building a mini
yeah,
distro, you're packaging inside of a binary, basically.
yeah, yeah,
Like
but you don't have any integration points to make sure it actually works.
right. And it also
Yeah,
expects that you have things on your system that you may not have.
yeah.
Like the Audacity of app image expects that you're on Ubuntu, even though it's an app image. The only reason I know this is because when you turn it on, there's like a variable that says something like, "Oh, variable something Ubuntu is not found." What? I thought this was supposed to be on more than just Ubuntu, and then
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, but you need to have this Fuse 2 thing installed," and then it's like, "What?"
Yeah, and
Oh
so
yeah.
I don't know what the solution to that would be, other than like, I don't know, like some like Kubernetes cluster or something, that you just take your thing and you throw it at magic orchestration tool that builds it for everything and then distributes it to everything. I don't know how
No, no,
else
no.
you do that.
That's still not the solution because then you have to like support
You have
the
to still
software for
support
each
each
user.
one.
Yes, it's different version because every single all of the Linux distributions are the same except slightly different configured in
Yeah,
slightly
and so
conflicting policies.
each individual distro is going to break in its own individual creative way, and so you then have
Exactly.
to change. You have to tweak a couple things here and there for each distro and each
Mm-hmm.
way of installing it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's not going to work on that platform.
Yeah, not just install, like run as well, because like
Yeah.
I don't know. What is there's still like distributions out there that do not have like the merged user tree where everything is like under slash user, and they still
So
have
what
like
I'm
slash
hearing
bin slash lib. Yes, yeah,
is we should just run everything in Podman containers. Just
that's
entirely.
pretty much that's basically what Flatpak is. Yes,
Is Flatpak running in a container?
Yep.
yes.
No.
The thing that Flatpak did was like, okay, yeah, we have like the kernel API that's guaranteed to be there and not change. That's the only thing we will use from the host system. Well, more or less. And that's how the container and namespaces were born, basically. Well,
Hmm.
and like Flatpak, along like every single container system that you will see, ships its own libc. Everything from libc up is like built inside the container and provided by the container. So that means like glibc. That means uh, every library that you need, all the cryptographic libraries, all the image loading, decoding, encoding libraries, all that, all multimedia playback, all everything is like basically it comes from inside the container.
My frustration has nothing to do with Flatpaks. It's just applications in general, where what I do is I'm just like, I just literally flick off all the permissions to see what I can get away with, and then I just slowly turn them on because I'm a crazy person. So like a GNOME
He is a
calculator,
crazy person.
you bet the first thing I did was turn off the internet because I am never, as much as I appreciate it, I am never going to use it to convert currency in the recent future.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like I'm just like I don't need this. Like it's just a
Mm-hmm.
calculator. I mean, the only reason I use it is because you start typing into the GNOME Dash and it shows up and it's great, and that's all I care about. I don't even open the actual thing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like with permissions, like, and that's like one of the common issue that people have with Flatpaks, right? There are like so many things on Flatpak, but they are not secure because they're sandbox, but they are like have such broad permissions. But like the alternative is like if you start cutting down on the permissions, you start cutting down on the features the application have, right? Because the permissions are not there because like the developers like them to be. They're there because they have like something that makes use of them most of the time. So that's the sad state of things. Like until we can have like a more expansive permission portal system that's like more dynamic and like can ask you at will and all that, you still
No.
need like static permissions.
It needs to be something like Android or Mac OS where it asks you
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Can I use your microphone? Yes or no?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like,
I mean that's the same thing that as with phones as well. Because like back in the day, like a lot of the permissions on Android were static as well, right? And it's like with each new version of Android, it started like making more and more and more things dynamic, and now almost everything is. So it's gonna be the same with Linux, and up until we have like uh, the portals are developed enough for everything to be dynamic. Because for example, we only have like now a Pulse Audio portal where it's like just gives you access to the whole Pulse Audio socket. But in the future, the plan is like have a separate portal built on top of Pipewire, so applications can like ask for permission only on the microphone or only on the speakers, so you can like you don't need to like fear that if an application has like access to like play audio, it can also record you, right?
well, the analogy that I use is what LibreOffice asks for all of your audio and your microphones, and you're like, "Hang on, that doesn't sound right." And then I say,
Yeah,
Up,"
exactly.
but LibreOffice Impress requires that you play videos, so that's why they ask for
Exactly.
your audio. So it's like,
and due to the current state of things, you cannot like play audio without also being able to record the microphone
Right.
potentially if you feel like. But there's like nothing preventing people from like implementing that apart from like time and resources.
And like, what would time and resources look like though? Like,
Ooh,
yeah, because
yeah.
what does it take to like recruiting more people, teaching people about like the tooling, like what
Mm-hmm.
does that take, and what is the cost of that?
So I mean, there's like one on the one hand is like the problem of like bringing new people in and like onboarding them on the development and all that on free software and doing that. And the other thing is like having money to pay the people that are already there and could do the work, but they have a different day job because there isn't like really any money into like funding free software. Everybody works as like either in some company that does something related to it or as a consultant and does things as needed for clients. So yeah, these are like two different problems, I guess, but they're slightly they stem from the same issue of like even if you brought somebody in, it would not be really sustainable. It's not like a lot of the work gets done for on the free time of people and because they like it, but they're like big projects that will need like a lot of dedicated resources and somebody that will dedicate years and years to see them through, right? So it depends on the task at hand, I guess, and how much and they serve each community. Because you can like have there are projects that are entirely volunteer based, and there are projects that are end up being only consultancies. Uh, but yeah, it depends a lot on the circumstances, I guess. But
Because
also
like,
like finding resources and money for
so
that.
like consultancy programs, is that would be stuff that's like prepackaged into like existing like software out in the wild, like
Um, yes and no. So the most common consultancies in free software are like companies that like have managed to hire people that have like expertise in like some domain. So for example, you will be the maintainer of some library, right? And that library gets used everywhere in like cars and whatnot. There are like consultancies that have like a lot of clients that will be like doing cars or other systems, microwaves or video cameras or whatever, and they make some use of it and like need people that have the expertise to be able to work on client issues as they come in and like fix bugs or implement new features. And so like the appeal is that you have a stable job that you but you jump from project to projects and like you end up doing work as needed by other companies, other clients, and the consultancy is selling your labor basically to those companies as the the one entity that can like go and fix things because it's an incredibly complex software stack at the end of the day, and there are like only so many people with expertise in it. So there's this one, and there's like again other companies that have a product that they sell. For example, Red Hat is selling the Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Canonical is selling support around Ubuntu, uh, and they pay people to like work on things through that. But again, the job of these people is like not to work on free software; it's to work on the product of the company. So, and that may or
And
may
then
not
the free
entail.
software is almost like secondary.
Yeah, exactly. So like you will see a lot of like people that might be working in one of these big distributions that end up like even though they work full time on free software, end up like doing a lot of the work in the evening because they're like the companies will not pay for like will not pay for like basic things that like need to be done in order for like the project itself to be running, but somebody still needs to do them. So yeah, that like it's not funding like free software development is like a very big unsolved problem, I would say.
Yeah, it's
So
almost like charity work, but you can't even write it off on your taxes.
yeah.
Because with charity work, if you like spend time volunteering at some charity organization or you donate money, you can at least write it off on taxes. At least that's how it works in the States. And
Mm-hmm.
but with if you spend time contributing to some project on for open source, you're not even getting the ability to write it off on taxes. You
Mm-hmm.
just are doing that work out of the goodness of your heart,
Yeah.
and maybe because you needed it, like you yourself personally might have a vested interest in solving that problem, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not actually you're not actually being reimbursed with it. And I've noticed this from my perspective that it's like, hey, yeah, I kind of feel like a lot of open source projects are way underfunded. Like,
Yeah.
and in most cases they're just not funded, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just complete charity work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there
Yeah.
there
So
are exceptions to that. Like I think Signal has said that their back end costs something like $14 million a year, and I don't know where they're making that money. But that's like
The
yeah.
answer
just
is they
running their
aren't,
servers. Yeah,
because
there
they
aren't.
make most
They
of that
aren't.
money from like, there's that one foundation that donates to them, which is basically like 8 or 10
Yeah, and
million
so it ends
dollars of
up
that 14 million.
it ends up
Yeah.
generally falling on big corporations to donate big sums of money in order to fund the bigger projects, and then a lot of well-meaning volunteers volunteering.
Yeah. Exactly. And like I mean, people like volunteer and like do that out of like, as you said, either because like they have a need for like the to solve the problem, or for like the community aspect of software development, free software. Like there's like a community of like-minded people that you collaborate with, and like that's very rewarding. So they certainly don't do it to get rich or like have their financial problems solved. I
I
mean,
feel like
yeah,
I also kind of feel like the conversation around funding open source has kind of gotten toxic,
yeah,
because I feel like it typically is like, oh well, if you have somebody asking for donations, a lot of times they either just get ignored or people lambaste them for even asking to have donations. And it's
mm-hmm,
like, well, if they did 100+ hours of work, or in a lot of cases more, shouldn't they get something at all for that?
yeah.
And I feel like there's not a good, other than say a Patreon, there's not like a good solution to right now for funding open source projects.
Yeah, and like the thing is like if you go with a model like Patreon and all that, see, essentially, because like I've been thinking about that for a bit. It's like at that point your job does not become like writing the software, but like selling it to people, right?
Yeah,
Your
and
job is like being an influencer that can like gather a big enough audience that enough people will chip in, so you can in the time that you have left in the day you can actually develop the software.
there's like three, when it comes to even things like YouTubing, there's like three
Hi.
unrelated thing. Yeah, hi. There's like three unrelated things that you kind of all have to do at the same time. There's being an influencer, there's being a marketer, and
Mm-hmm.
there's doing the thing that it is that you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and it's and each one of those things is like, in the business world, like you could get a PhD in each one of those fields individually.
Yeah.
And you're kind of expected to do all of those. And it's there's not an easy solution to it right now,
Mm-hmm.
other than like ad funding, and no one wants that.
Yeah. And the problem is that you start like contributing to free software, and after a while, the amount of like workload that it becomes, and like so many people depending on things that you do, is like becomes so unsustainable. And like the money that you need to make if you out of free software in order to like break even with like say a normal day job is like unimaginable. Like the salary that you could like get for like being a software engineer is like of a certain amount, but like you cannot even make a fraction of that by just asking for people to pay you to like keep doing the free work that you're doing.
Yeah.
So
So like if
yeah.
you have 10,000 people that are all using your whatever it is that you're maintaining, on a daily basis, and say 1% of them are donating $10 to you, that's like $1,000 a month, which is, if I did that right, which is significantly less than you would be making if you
Yeah.
just had a normal job.
Yeah, I mean, there are cases where this thing has worked. Like Thunderbird is like a great example where they managed to like reboot the whole project through something like that.
But they did
But
it just by asking in the opening message that happens when you turn it
yeah,
on, like, every
yeah,
time.
pretty impressive. I mean, the budget they have now, it's like pretty impressive compared to like for like what they did. But they have like a end user product that they already ship to people, which most free software is not. It's like just a bunch of random libraries here and there or utilities that you don't even know how it gets installed in the end user. If you try to do that, it usually gets stripped out by distributions anyway, because who are you to like
Are you
who
donating
are,
to the distribution or are you donating to the developer?
no, they usually like just take it off, like they remove the pop-up to ask for things, right? Same thing that they do with telemetry usually. Unless you like a big enough project like KDE, then you can like strong arm them basically into keeping it.
Or
Uh,
you're like me, where you turned it on and then you actually read the report and then you realized, how the heck is anyone supposed to read this? Like, because I turned on KDE's telemetry all the way up, and then
yeah,
I'm like, I want to help them as much as possible. But then I got a crash. So I was like, okay, let's read the data report. I want to see the data report get sent, and I read it, and I'm like, how are they gonna solve this? No one's gonna
Is it
solve
just like
this.
one gigantic like JSON dump?
Yeah, like your journal CTL or whatever. I'm like, there's no way.
I
Like,
mean that gets
it's
parsed automatically in the backend, but
right,
yeah,
but still, it was like, but I read what was in there. I'm like, this is not this. None of what was in there had to do with my problems, and I was like, this doesn't seem right.
I
And
mean
then I
you.
learned later, Nate Grimm
Hmm.
was like, yeah, we're changing that because it wasn't very helpful. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
So even the developers were saying it
Yeah,
wasn't
so even they
helpful.
were like, oh, we can't do it. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it wasn't just
Yeah.
me.
I mean, it's like things like tools like that have existed for decades, but not in the free software world, right? Ubuntu has its own thing, Fedora has its own thing, where like it even like they automatically upload crash dumps and all that. But we never had any of it in like the desktop world, because up till now it was like the big no-no. Oh my God, you're gonna do what? You're gonna turn telemetry? You're gonna upload my crash report? It was like and like so it's like a lot of trial and error until you find out what works and how, I guess. So yeah, I'm glad that KD is doing that. I wish we had like more telemetry and analytics in general. It would be like super useful.
Do it.
But yeah,
Do it.
yeah, I know.
Well,
People
that's the
already
other thing is a
complain
lot of
about like
people.
GeoClue in like GNOME anyway. It's like,
Well, a lot of
what's a little
people.
telemetry gonna do?
A lot of people. It is on top of no funding. A lot of people also complain about anything that's telemetry related, which is the thing that would help the developers develop better, assuming that they even wanted to.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
mean,
and a lot of people just turn off all of the telemetry because, I mean, frankly, a lot of times it's rather opaque as to what it's actually sending, depending
mm-hmm.
on the software. And so it's like, okay, well, what information is being sent? And I kind of feel like that's another issue that's kind of toxic in open source,
Yeah.
at least currently. That even monitoring how your software is working in the first place is often, I guess, almost frowned upon
Mm-hmm.
to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's a trust issue at the end of the day. Like you, the thing is like you already trust those people to like execute code on your machine and do
Yeah, exactly.
who knows what. You like,
It's
But
like
that's what I'm
you
saying.
literally have pseudo
I'm already
privilege. It's like
trusting you to put my stuff on my computer. It's like, what's a little telemetry? It doesn't mean anything to me. Like,
I
you.
mean,
I literally had to run root in order to run this thing. So like you can do anything you want at that point.
yeah, like the thing that's the other thing that the Thunderbird people were complaining like all distributions like keep like stripping all the telemetry out of Thunderbird, and because of that they have like so much money because they got so many donations now, but they have like no idea what their Linux user base is. So Even if you like a Linux user that donated, the money most of the time goes to Windows and macOS because they do not know how many users they have on Linux and they cannot like prioritize based on that now, even though the whole development team runs Linux and all that.
I wonder if
I don't
So
that's
know.
also a product
I
of
guess
Thunderbird inherits a lot of the issues that Firefox does because it uses Firefox's engine for things. So when people see it, they immediately associate it with, oh, it's going to Mozilla or something. And it's like, but that's not quite how that works. And it's not
maybe
the
yeah,
same level of what like flagship
and the data is
Firefox
not
does.
exactly like identifiable most of the time. Like you already trust them with your email. Like
I mean,
if you
I
do
guess
not trust, yeah,
people
yeah,
like
it's
don't want like whatever their email is or whatever potentially sensitive information they might have had in order to wind up in like some public some public forum somewhere in the sky that they don't know how to track it down.
yeah, yeah.
And I guess maybe it's a communication error or a communication problem again with users to like explain to them, okay, we are collecting, like we are sending this
They
file
won't
to
read
this
it.
location. Yeah, people aren't going to read it. People are going to say, oh, we're just going to turn it off. Because you first have to convince people, hey, yeah, we need this information because it's important for us to have, and then you need to like inform them, hey, yeah, it's not a problem for you to send it to us. So there's like a twofold problem.
Yeah. So what Mozilla did with that to address that is like all the analytics that Mozilla gathers are anonymized, and they also all publicize the raw data that they receive somewhere. So anybody can like go through and look at them, but they are since they are both like publicly available and anonymized. If somebody like found a way to de-anonymize them, it will be a big issue. And so in
Yeah.
so many years, not it hasn't like happened yet. So I mean, and the data does not stay there forever. Or like, it's like the thing is like they're like so careful with what they collect and how they collect it and and like how they publish it and like in order to gain back that trust, it's like, you go take a look yourself. Like it's it's there so many years, it hasn't been an issue. It's not like useful information. You cannot like use it for advertisement or like identify people. It's just like telemetry for like to know what needs to be done or take decisions. So, for example, in GNOME, there's like this very funny thing that has been going on for a while. So, because for the design decisions, so every now and then you need like to feedback on like how people use the computer, what people use, what is like a common thing, and all that. And we have like no telemetry anywhere except there's like this company Endless where they have telemetry enabled by default. So every now and then, when we will have like an issue where it will be like useful to have like couple of data, like okay, how many people did actually click this panel in the control center and the setting? Is anybody actually has anybody ever used this feature? For example, we got like okay, yeah. So could you like make us an anonymized report of the telemetry you have and like give us to us so we can like make an informed decision about this that will not be go flying completely blind, please. And they're like kind enough to do it. So
I don't know. Maybe you guys need like a pop up that says like every once in a while pops up and says like, hey, yeah, do you have like any nagging issues that you want to like to complain about the developer, complain to the developers
I
about?
mean, my
That could
issue
lead to
tracker
some
is like,
problems.
yeah, yeah. My issue tracker gets a lot of that without asking for it, without me going and asking people, hey, do you want to send me like more hate mail, please? Thank you. I will happily accept that. I did not have enough of it this week.
Speaking of
So,
which,
oh,
uh,
yes.
speaking of which, there seems to be what I don't understand because I'm probably too disconnected from the tech ecosystem to understand. Even though I watch every single big tech event, I watch Linux TED Talks for fun, and I know literally too many facts about
He
corporate big
reads
tech
the Apple
companies.
white paper to go to sleep. This is not a joke. He
I read
literally
the
does
Apple
that.
security white paper that they publish like twice a year. because it makes great bedtime reading. You get to learn a little bit about how your iPad or your Apple Vision Pro is protecting your data or whatever. It's great. It's fun. I bought the book from that woman who leaked a bunch of stuff out of Facebook. Was it the Careless People? Just because she was being sued by Zuckerberg, I'm like, yes. I immediately want to read this now. And it's like the first chapter is already super wild and has absolutely nothing to do with technology, but I don't care. I just want more dirt on the robot that's Mark Zuckerberg.
I just want the gossip. Yeah.
But like what I don't understand is GNOME always seems to get like an abnormal amount of distaste like that I don't quite understand. Where all of it came from. I think a lot of it's the people who are like, Linux is about choice. You're taking my choices away. You can't change the icons anymore except if you download the tweak tool or whatever.
A lot of people, I think a lot of it comes from the hate of Fedora people on Ubuntu people because of the defaults.
I don't think so. I think a lot of it is like. I think a lot of it is like people picking sides. Well, not picking sides. There are no sides to pick. Like there isn't like any holy war between GNOME and KDE or whatever. Like what Reddit.
Well, there is a holy war, but I mean, it's a ridiculous one.
Yeah, no, in the maybe in like the minds of people, but not in reality, right? So like,
not in reality.
GNOME and KDE used to like. There were like times where we did the annual conference, both Academy and Quadec, at the same place at the same time, and we do like a Linux App Summit together and all that. We like collaborate on a bunch of things.
You didn't like shake your fists at each other as you like passed each other in the hall or something?
Yeah. No. Yeah, I guess it's a lot like. So I was trying to explain that to friends the other day. It's like. The best analogy I could find was like weird fandoms online and like stan culture where people would be like, oh, I stan this, I am a Swiftie. It's like weird, like I guess people identify, well, no, they don't identify, they make their identity around this thing. And like my thing is that I hate GNOME and I run anything but GNOME. And like, it's like very
or the
bizarre.
People who say I only run window managers, as if that made
you
you special because everyone runs window managers.
You get the same holy war with Team Red and Team Blue. Like people say,
or Android and iOS.
Yeah, Android and iOS. Like, oh yeah, this is like your identity is.
Come on, you two are strapping young single men.
He says to the guy whose identity is he is Apple.
You strapping young single men. Don't you lose social credit score if you don't have an iPhone and you don't have a blue bubble? Like,
I mean, yeah, like legitimately. This was literally a paper that came out. They did research and they found that if you have an Android phone, you are more likely to not be able to get dates on dating apps because you have a green bubble on iPhones. Like this is a real thing. Like if you're using a dating app and you have an Android device, you are less likely to get dates. And when they interviewed people, apparently some people said, oh yeah, if I see a green bubble, I'm just not talking with them. And it's like, what's wrong with you people?
You pleb. Yeah. I mean,
like,
no, it's worse than that. Maybe
it's a good thing. Maybe it just filters out the bad candidates at that point.
I mean, yes and no, because like on the Linux side of things, like even more bizarre, because like nerds like to pretend they're logical and like they're the smart guy in the room and all that, and they end up like arguing about X11 and Wayland, which is like this is not even a competition. It's made by the same people. All the application developers do not give a They just want the application to work.
Wayland should have been called X12, and and Trafotin will disagree with me on this. But
no one gives a crap about a name.
I think if it was called X12, people would use it because it's one better than X11. But
No.
Wayland sounds like it's different.
macOS was on 10 for a long time. I think people don't care about names.
Yeah, the name does not matter.
Had trouble transitioning from the 10 point something to the numbered release.
No, it's okay. It's just 26. It's fine.
Well, I'm running 10 point something. You're running 10 point what? Because that's really important.
No, you're just gonna remember the location in California of whatever that year was, and that's
Oh,
literally just
wow,
the most
yeah,
easiest way.
I'm
That's
running the
literally
one with
easiest way
the
to do it.
trees.
Yeah. So people would like complain about the weirdest things. Like, who cares what in each system your computer is using, right? Why does like system D have to like be a culture all of a sudden? Oh, I am X level until I die. I saw that the other day. It was like, why? What do you
I
get out of
You
it?
know,
I
my
think
brain is
there's
cooked when I was listening to Richard Brown's talk about OpenSUSE Aeon. About he's talking about the TPM part, and then a voice comes out of the crowd and starts speaking to him, and he's intently listening. And because I've listened to so many talks, I recognize the voice as Lennart Pottering because
Oh,
Lennart had to do the same thing when he made System Decrypt roll because of course. And
yes.
he's just like it's just like back and forth like da da da. It's so funny. It's great. Love you
Yeah.
guys. It's amazing.
Yeah, I
I
mean, no,
think
Leonardo is amazing. I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, on the talk, like, he was giving feedback, but like, the people that will debate, okay, yeah, I run System D. So what? Go use whatever it works for you. Like, who cares? Like, yeah, there's
I
an amazing, yeah, go on.
I think that there's a desire inside I think in sports it's one thing, but I think with when it comes to technology, there's a desire inside of technology to want whatever solution it is that's working for you to work for everyone else, because that means that that solution gets more attention, and it's easier for you to do things in the future potentially because more people are using whatever the default solution or whatever your solution is. And I feel
Uh,
like there's some of that going on. It's like, why do you want people to use System D? Well, because you want System D to get more attention.
well, no, because it works and it gives me nice APIs. But like, yeah, like I don't think it's that. I think it's like it has a lot more to do with like validation and like I don't know, being like on the same group with the other people, right? Like, oh, here are all the system D haters. Somehow they're all Nazis, but yeah, it's by accident, I guess. I mean, I wish I was joking, but yeah,
I mean, if you've seen
I have
Devlon's
noticed an
forums,
inordinate amount of that.
yeah, it's like there's like a lot of tribalism, I guess, but for no reason, because like your name is not like you're not like Mr. Jones dot run in it. Like what stake do you have in it? It's like it makes no sense. Why would you like go around like uh, engage in endless debates about things you know nothing about, and how like your system should be like you didn't even know it was running until yesterday. Yeah, it's yeah. It makes no sense. And the worst part of all of this is like again, nerds like to think they're above all that. Like they're the smart guys. They're like no, they do not fall for like tribalism and like sports debates and like oh my team is superior. Oh I like this K-pop group and not that one or whatever like is like the thing these days. It's like, but they fall for the way worse things because they end up like debating and like
Yeah,
debating
because
things that
with sports it doesn't matter,
yeah
but with
sports are
technology you're actually
entertainment.
using it.
No, sports is entertainment. You can like get some like value. Like it's like about socializing, right?
Yeah.
If you're going around like saying, okay, yeah, I ran X11 and no Wayland, I will never run Wayland. Why? Like, did Wayland kill your mother? What did it do to you? Like, did your father abandon you to get cigarettes and then became a Wayland developer? Like, it makes no sense, especially like if you like see it, the history of X and Wayland, because like it's literally the same people, and like there's like this insane thing that happened where every single developer across the whole stack, from like the graphics drivers, the kernel, the DRM system, and the kernel, all the way to the user space, just decided, okay, yeah, we are not touching X11 again ever. We're just gonna do this new thing until it's like good enough that we can go on with our life and have new things that are like sensible and secure. And people are like, yeah, but I think X11 was better. Why? Well, it was there. It exists. Like, you cannot make sense of that.
I mean, for me, it's like I'm just gonna move to what's best. Like at the end of the day, and I think everyone's
I
the
mean,
same way. You just move on to the thing that's the best, and it's
I
like,
think the
it's
but you
not.
also
problem.
need to like it needs to be something. It's like you got to check all the boxes. It can't just be the best. It has to like be like future proofed against like all sorts of like maintenance problems and like security things. There's like just
Mm-hmm.
the list just goes will go on. It goes on like forever.
Well, that's
But
the thing is
that's
it
the
And
has
then
to
thing.
be
by the
future
time by that
proofed.
time, hey, guess what? There's now a replacement for Wayland, and it's like, okay, I'll just move to that then. Great.
Yeah,
And
but
then
that's the thing.
move
Like,
on with your
you're not
life.
the one. Most of the time, you're not the one that makes the choice, right?
Right.
Like, it's not you. It's like the people that develop the desktop that you run and the application that decide, okay, yeah, we're gonna like start supporting this new API or this new system or I don't know, this new driver. It's not like the you cannot. It's not like the users that go around like programming their way into like I don't know, making the whole new thing. That's like, yeah, it's like you don't like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's not up to the, yeah. So you did, no matter, even if it's like some technology that it's not like technically the best, but it's like the path forward. Like unless somebody shows up and does the work, there isn't like anything that people can do anyway. So yeah, developers make decisions for like different reasons, right? Like whatever it might be, because one might has nicer APIs, one might be more performant, one might be lower maintenance. But at the end of the day, it's like what trade-off did the developer accept, and like why did they want to do it? And like if you do not want it, if you do not like it, you like your best bet is like go find somebody else that does not do that and like go there. It's not like you make a choice because your choice is like either keep using the thing that you were using or abandoning it. So
But my accessibility. I need my accessibility. I need my VNC stuff.
it's more accessible. So a funny thing, I was looking. So a couple of years ago, like GNOME got a big grant from the German Ministry of Technology, right? It got 1 million euros in funding to spend around for development. I was looking at the numbers today. Around like a third of the budget, it was spent on accessibility. So we bridge the gap with like and like fix the last remaining blocker issues with between like the Wayland session and the X11 session. And people like, still like go around say, oh yeah, GNOME is dropping Wayland without caring about accessibility. And like accessibility has been like the only blocker in like all these years that we had before we actually can drop X11. And it's like, oh, dude, there's like no point. Like, no matter what you do, it's like people will like make up their own mind, and like then you have to like spend hours and hours and hours to like prove them otherwise. Like, insane amount of money. Like, so it was a lot of the work that was done for accessibility uh, was contracted through Igalia because they employ one of the maintainers of Orca, and Igalia also matched and donated a lot of hours because they didn't give the normal consultancy rate. They gave a reduced one, as a way reduced rate for the contract, and they said they would donate the rest of the hours basically. So effectively, it was like around like 500,000 in budget when you count the donated hours as well by Galia, and out of like one point something budget, 1 point million something budget, like way above, like one third in the lowest estimate, and like maybe like uh, close to like I don't know, uh, how much? Yeah, way too many money, way too much money. Either way, and people were still were like, okay, yeah, Wayland is not as accessible as X11, which like it's not made. There are like things that do not work the same way. Sure, there are things that like need changing, but it's still as accessible, if not more. So, yeah.
Does it translate to problems for like? Does all this discourse does it translate to like problems for, developers?
Oh, yeah, a lot of frustration, because like you will like spend like months and months and months fixing one bug and like getting things up to par, and like all of a sudden, no matter what you did, a guy with a random blog post or like a YouTube channel said, oh yeah, this thing is like exactly the opposite of what the truth is actually. And then you have like an army of followers that will just repeat that, and they keep repeating it, and you cannot like, even if you disprove it, nobody like hears that. So it's a very very frustrating thing to like have to do, because like, yeah, again, the only like, the most recent example was like we started the whole X11 deprecation like a couple of years ago, and back then the main blocker we had was like accessibility and maybe color management. Color management, I knew it was in the works. We will likely have it by the time we were done. Accessibility was like more up in the air of like what would happen to it. Thankfully, we got like the funding for the grant by the STF, the German ministry, and like that solved the issue. But like it was like literally the only blocker, and like people yeah, like last week were like, okay, yeah, GNOME is dropping X11 without caring about the accessibility of it, even though like Wayland is less accessible. But it's not. We made sure it was not, and it's like we not only made sure, we like spent a lot of money doing that. That could have been anything else.
I am so angry every time I read online of people who are like, "Oh, but I NVIDIA doesn't work on Wayland." I'm like, I want to strangle them in Minecraft because it's like, oh, but I've run NVIDIA on Wayland for the last 3 years and I haven't noticed
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Also, you know why Nvidia gives a shit about Wayland now? Because X11 is going away.
Yeah.
They didn't. Yeah, it's like until like you think, until like heads start spinning around about like, forcing a migration around vendors that do not give care much. Till now, they will never like keep supporting it. Like as long as there is like another alternative, they will keep not spending money on it. So yeah, if we had not come out and say, okay, yeah, we X11 is going away, likely Nvidia would be like as buggy as it was 3 years ago in Wayland.
I mean, they still have problems, but I wouldn't say they're Wayland explicitly Wayland related.
No,
I
it's a lot better than it used to be. It's like
Yeah,
it's
it's way
good enough
better.
that, yeah, it's good enough to not be an issue, to not be a blocker issue anymore. So yeah.
I mean, what was it? You're gonna laugh. You're gonna have a big laugh. I have found only one like GitHub issue about this problem, and apparently I'm one of the people who's experienced it for months, and I didn't even know it. So here's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. You know how Universal Blue, all of the flavors, package in the GNOME versions of Bazite or Bluefin or whatever. They have the little extension that shows you the system tray icons from like the K
Oh
application
yes.
icons, like
Yes.
so stuff
K
like
status
OBS,
modifier.
Discord, and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that my system would lock up at random intervals during the day, and I would never know why until I turned off that plugin. And I only found this out last week, and I realized, hang on a second, why should a system tray icon cause a full system lockup? Like
Mm-hmm.
like that doesn't make any sense. So I turned it off. and I just moved on with my life. I'm like, I guess I'm never just gonna use it ever again, because I don't have the faith anymore that it's not going to cause a problem. Sorry, Ubuntu developers, but I just don't have the confidence that it won't hard lock my system again.
Yeah, that's bizarre. I
It's
mean,
I'm willing to bet this is like only if you use like NVIDIA on a laptop and like you have to do a specific thing basically to it's like don't
Like
even bother
maybe it's a
fixing my
lockup
problem.
because of like a handoff between the integrated and the discrete GPU or something, and
I
it
don't
wasn't doing
know.
the handoff correctly, and so you were getting like the last image that came out of whatever that display was as it
But
tried to switch
shouldn't it
over
only
to
draw over that
integrated or
little
something.
area of the screen? I'm so
I
confused.
mean, yeah, that
So,
shouldn't be happening.
yeah,
Somehow it's like
I don't think it's
manages to
that.
stall the rendering, but like, yeah,
I
I
think
mean, the thing is like,
it was traced back to some DRM modification NVIDIA does to the kernel, and I'm just
oh,
like,
okay,
you know
yeah,
what? At this point,
that,
not their problem. I'm just like,
It's a
this is
DRM'd tray icon.
it was just
yeah. I
memory
mean,
because in NVIDIA, in
if
order for the NVIDIA driver to run, you have to do a kernel flag that basically modifies like the way memory access is done in the kernel, and then like just so NVIDIA can run, and it causes problems or something like that. It's like I forget what the flag is. Someone can quote the Arch Wiki and tell me, but like it's like DRM whatever or something. It's
oh wow, I mean, yeah, that shouldn't be happening, but like I've seen worse bugs. I mean, extensions can
I
they
mean,
do whatever they want?
I'll tell you, I tell people this all the time, and people are like, "How do you live with yourself?" I literally don't have anything. I don't use any extensions. All the ones that Bazai gave me, I turned off. I'm just like, no. Like
Yeah.
it was like it's like as much as I appreciate a little menu, it's like I'll be fine. Thanks. I can just press the Windows key and get what I want. But
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, or even like, what's the only one I use? It's like caffeine. You know, it just keeps your computer from falling asleep. It's like that's the most like basic like this is as
Yeah, yeah.
basic as it gets. If I wasn't a content creator, I wouldn't be using it. Like I'm just being honest. If I wasn't a content creator, I would not be using it. Otherwise, I would just turn it off. Like and dash the panel just so I can see my panel on my other screen. Like that's it. That's all I use.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use anything
Yeah.
else. Like
I mean, I myself don't use any extensions either. I mean, I'm of the mindset that if there's like an issue, if like a usability issue, I'll just go and fix it, or like we'll like bring it up and like address it directly in the GNOME itself. But yeah, because like if everybody runs their own, if everybody starts starting their own extension, then what are we developing anymore? It's like it's so gets
but then
fragmented and like.
Fedora has versioned extensions, so like that causes more complications depending on which version
Hmm.
you're running because there can be different
No, no,
extension numbers.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
everywhere it's like versioned. The extensions are all versioned, and they
but
are
like it's a different
they're
version
also.
number from the upstream one. So if you download it from
Oh,
extensions.gnome.org, it's different. It's a different version number because they freeze the
well, yeah.
extensions in time until Fedora in Ubuntu will freeze the extensions in time until the next release.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, that's like distros doing distro things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, nothing new. It's a distro package. It's a downstream distro rather than the extension upstream, I guess. But yeah, bizarre things.
I will want to say one thing because this is something
Mm-hmm.
I've wanted to talk about for a while. Is
Oh.
I debate on making Patreon posts about this, but I think it's better I just say this publicly because then they have to listen to a 2 hour thing or fast forward the video to find out me saying it, and then I don't have to worry about it. Um, I'm I'm very worried all the time. This has nothing to do with anything we've talked about, really.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very worried that I'm becoming way too jaded about like the way people talk about Linux online because every time I hear someone say something, I'm usually cringing, and or throwing things at my computer. I'm like, or it's usually like people are talking about. Did you hear about? There's this new program that I'm just like, but it's only been out for like a day. Like we don't know anything about. We don't know anything. I'm like I think this is something that I think I've tried to treat differently because, like, when I talked with George Castro from Universal Blue,
Mm-hmm.
we were already talking for like a year. I waited like a whole year to like for that to like even happen. Like I didn't like I want to. I like to wait for like be patient. Wait for signs of wait for signs of maturity. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I worry about getting the and I worry as a content creator about like spreading misinformation or getting things wrong all the time. I guess this is why it takes a million years to release a video. um,
Yeah.
but like part of me wishes it's like, well, if there's so much misinformation all the time, how come people don't ask developers? How come people like it's literally just like it's like a quick Discord call away to say, hey, do you want to talk about blah blah blah? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, open source and like free software has like these scares that developers are like so extremely accessible to normal people. Like the issue trackers are open. You can find them online. You can yell at them. You can yeah, you can do a bunch of things. Yet nobody of the content creators like bloggers and all that actually makes use of that superpower and actually asks for things. Yeah. And that's like, it's like it would take what, 10 minutes to ask for a clarification if like something is like a thing or not. But yeah, you just like wake up one day, see a blog post
but
about a
I
project you're
read
working on.
the issue tracker. They said this thing, not accounting for the
Yes.
fact that there's a matrix
Oh,
channel that says all sorts of other things away from the issue
oh,
tracker.
oh, excellent example. Oh, oh my God. So you know how we were like, so we were discussing if we were gonna like drop X11 this cycle or like postpone it again in GNOME, right? And in the GNOME release team, we have like people from Red Hat, people from
Yeah.
Canonical and all that. And we also had like a public discussion in GitLab as well. And at some point there was like a small thread between like me, Jeremy Bika from Canonical, and I think Adrian, and we were like going back and forth on like if we I was like okay, yeah, we should go ahead with it, and like we can drop it, and Jeremy was like, oh well, yeah, let me check up with Ubuntu and like see the plans, right? And since the Ubuntu had like no public plans available yet, the public discussion stayed a bit frozen, right? But like behind the scenes we were still like collaborating, we still knew what we were still like discussing, we were keeping up, we were checking, we wouldn't like go ahead if like we got like major issues and all that. And like so I start write a blog post and like preparing the releases for the 49 alpha, and like saying like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and drop it, knowing full well that having the uh, private acknowledgement from the Ubuntu side that they're fine with like dropping X11, right? Because yeah, and like so I make a blog post, I write the announcement, and 2 days later Ubuntu makes their own blog post that they're going to also drop X11 and all that. Up to the day where I published the blog post, people were like going, oh well, GNOME is doing this to destroy Canonical, to strong arm them, to like pinch them, to force them and all that. And I'm like, dude, you have an audience, you have an audience, send a message, ask. Like they were like people like for 3 weeks speculating of a single GitLab comment that was like, well, Ubuntu is not sure what it's gonna do if it's like if it will ship X11 for 2604. And for this single comment, there was like endless speculation for 3 weeks about if like GNOME wants to like destroy Ubuntu or not, and like do it explicitly to cause them harm. It was like, what the and we're like, hey Jeremy, do you have any update? Yeah, we have this spring where we will get together and discuss it. Jeremy, do you have any updated? Yeah, I will have some news soon. And we were waiting, and like, oh, what if you still need to ship X11? What can we do for you? How can we like make it less, uh, uh, you know, less impactful on you? Because we still would like to disable it, but in a way that would be easier for you. If Ubuntu was like still going to like save X11 for another release, we'd probably like not even like talk about dropping the whole code. We would just like maybe soft disable it or whatever. And like we were like in constant discussion. But yeah, it was like very bizarre because like especially because like I couldn't like say okay, yeah, I know Ubuntu will do that because they told me and asked me to keep it confidential for like until they make their own announcement because like yeah, I can't do that yet because yeah, so I cannot say anything, but also the people
I mean, I
can
guess
didn't
you
even
could
like
say
try
something
to
along the
ask,
lines of like,
so
"Hey, yeah,
it's like
we talk with the people. We're talking with Canonical like constantly.
yeah, we're
So
collaborating.
like, chill.
Yes,
We're
yes,
talking with them."
your conspiracies are unfounded. Yes, yes, we are looking at it. We're gonna come up with a plan that makes sense for everyone. Like that, I think I wrote that in a comment in my in the blog post in the announcement. But yeah, yeah, it was like you would say till the that day there were like multiple influencers that went along with it. Oh my God, they're doing that. Oh, what will Ubuntu do? Ubuntu like it's in big trouble now. Oh, and all that. It's like what? Endless manufactured drama out of nowhere for no reason, just for the clicks, I guess.
I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like it's such
you're
a
doing good. Don't worry about it.
okay. I mean, I think my thing is like just when I like maybe when I read like news, massive air quotes, six air
Mm-hmm.
quotes news.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm like, as many cool things that are happening on Linux, it's like they could be solved in like one sentence, and that's usually how it is. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you've written stuff for this week in GNOME, you know how it is. It's like you just, hey, we added support for, I don't know, SVG images and this thing. Okay, cool, and then we all
Mm-hmm.
move on with our lives.
Yeah. No, I mean, Linux users like they end up like being a lot more about what keyboard and what switches are you using than what software are you doing.
Well,
Because
it's like,
there
isn't it
was
more
like
important about what you're doing with your software rather than like what your software is? Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, but like, when was it? It was like a couple of weeks ago. There was like a big news headline: Linus Torvalds has switched from like this keyboard with these switches to this keyboard with mechanical blue switches. And like, cares? Why is this new?
all right, so there's this hilarious thing. Winward doesn't know about this. This is probably the first time he's hearing it. When I was talking with George, he said like so when he was in KubeCon, I think it was like Hong Kong or whatever, Hong Kong or
Mm-hmm.
Salt Lake City, or whichever one it was. Um, he said like he saw Linus at the thing. I mean, he works for the Linux Foundation, so seeing Linus, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like he said, he looked really miserable the moment like he started getting asked questions, like. And this is
Yeah,
not
that's
like the
good.
what talks that you'll see on YouTube, like on stage or whatever. It's like this is just being asked like random things from like random people as he's like walking to get lunch. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I have to
Yeah.
imagine that it gets tiring at some point. Because
I
it's
mean,
like,
he
I
even
mean,
said
how
like he didn't
much.
sign up for that. He didn't sign up for this. He didn't know how big like this was going to
Yeah,
be.
Linux was gonna get? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever have you aside from like conferences? Do you ever get to meet up with any of the other people from like from like Gnome land?
Not really. There are not that many people in Greece. I have like some coworkers in the city here that are also like GNOME adjacent and I guess GNOME developers to some extent. But yeah, other than conferences, no, there isn't like any local community here
Hmm.
much. Yeah, it's funny thing because like I have like a GNOME hoodie that every time I would need to go and buy hardware, I would wear it and just like in case somebody like noticed it and like would give me a discount. In 7 years, it never happened, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, on one side, it's like for the better because like who the wants like random interactions like that? But like on the other side, I could use a discount on like some CPU or whatever.
I am lucky that in my real life, only one person has ever come across my YouTube channel and recognized my voice, which is a miracle. After 4 years,
you ran across
thank
someone
heaven.
that recognized
Yeah,
your
so
voice?
I just took him out to coffee after work, and then we had a chat.
Oh, did you
We had a
know
chat,
this
then I
person?
shot him on the back alley.
Yeah, he's a coworker, so I know who he is. So
That
like, it's not
probably
like
means that the almighty Google algorithm was like, "Oh yeah, you
no,
and this person work together."
he's all right. He's a mega Linux loser. Like against he's asked me stuff before because against my advice, he was like, "Oh, I wanted to run Debian." I'm like, "No, absolutely not. Please don't do that to yourself." And he's like, "No, but I feel like I really need to." And I'm like, "No, you don't." He's also one of the people who's like, "Yeah, I'm like, he's like, "What phone should I get?" I'm like, "A Google phone," and because you hate Apple. And then he's like, "No, I want to get a Samsung phone." I'm like, "No, don't do this to yourself. Like, you're just gonna get flooded with like NFL inserted like advertisements or whatever the heck they do
But
now,
the
where they like
pen,
pre-install apps
it's
during
cool.
during the next update. Like, don't do that. Like, oh my gosh, like, and it's like, yeah, he's a mega Linux loser. He like, I'm pretty sure he spends like all of his time when he's not working on Grok, like just typing in random questions or converting out a code from the 80s. This is not a joke.
On
Like,
Grok.
like Grok,
Okay.
ChatGPT, or Claude, one of the three, and then like he's just like going into. I'm pretty sure he has a paid subscription to all three of them, and then just goes into like all of them, just asking questions. Like, it's like, that's a bit beyond me, and I did zero programming in like the 80s. I was barely born. Like the 90s was like, what? I mean, like, what's the most you call OS2? I guess. Whatever I was, or like Apple, whatever I was using in college. Like, it's like there
Unix
wasn't
something or
like,
other.
I didn't think about it. You just, or Windows 98. You just click on, it has the. All of that. It's like, I don't think about these things. It's like, what was I like, when was the last time at the plug in a FireWire port? Like, it was like, actually it was 2 years
I
ago,
remember FireWire.
because it was 2 years ago, because I found the iMac G3 on the side of a road and I grabbed it. I'm like, who the heck
Oh,
has.
you found it Z3?
Yeah,
Damn.
but I don't have I don't have cables for it. So I eventually just
Do
sent
you
it
know
to
that
I sent it to a
they're still...
recycling. I had to send it to a
Yeah.
recycling center just because like I don't know how to get in. It's a Power PC because
Mm-hmm.
it's Power PC, so there's nothing that can run Linux on it. So I'm just
Oh,
like,
you can.
and I
Do
can't.
you know that we still get like a billion, well, not a billion, but like every 2 weeks there's at least one issue about like supporting power a MacBook G4s. Yes, still. Because like people have them and they really love them, and they were like, "Can you please like make your code compile for the G4 MacBook or whatever was the last one? I think it was the G4, the last PowerBook one."
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. It's like, dude, let it die. It's 32-bit even, right?
Oh yeah, you
Ah,
definitely need to let
please.
that thing die. Like, please, like, put it out of its misery. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that's
Oh my god.
old. It's like 2 inches thick.
PowerBook. What was it? G6. What was that? A G6? What was the last? No.
I had
What
the
was the last?
G3. It
I
was
think
one
it
of the
was.
cheese graters. Is one
I
of the
think it
ones I
was
had.
G4. I think you're right.
You're
Yeah.
talking about the laptops or the desktops, right?
Yeah. The laptop. The
The
laptop.
laptop,
The
yeah.
last
The
PowerPC
laptop,
one.
I
Yeah.
have no clue. I never used it.
Yeah.
This is back before we had a need for laptops. Honestly, my first laptop was 2009.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually a refurbished like work class ThinkPad. It's about what you'd expect.
Damn. Oh well. Yeah.
It barely ran the internet. I mean, I consider the fact that you could open like, the newest browser at the time, Google Chrome, for the first like at least properly. That was at least novelty to me. Like, or what's it? That was also when like Blender and like VirtualBox first came out, I think. Like roughly
Mm-hmm.
around that time, so I was like, wow. I was like, the memories. I think Blender, Audacity, and VirtualBox like came out roughly around that time. I was like, that's really weird to think about.
Oh wow. Huh.
Because like it's
Yeah.
like that's like almost 20 years ago, and I'm like, wow, I feel old. But
Yeah. I, I, I was like the other day I was like cleaning up some things because I moved like a couple of years ago, and I found a DVD with like Ubuntu. What was it, 808 or something like that? And
ooh,
like yeah, I was like at that point I was like I wasn't even like knew what I was doing, but like there was like a family friend that was like running Linux at the time, like 20 years ago. It was like he had given me this DVD and I was like had put it in like a computer and was like just playing with it, you know. And then like I at some point I think I couldn't play games and like gave up and like, went back to Windows. But like 10 years later I ended up like being a Linux developer somehow. But yeah. Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, it was like, at least I was like somewhat familiar with it, right? 10 years had passed, but yeah, I had seen that thing before.
I'm still shocked that I've been able to keep up with at least Windows, Mac, and Linux, at least to a certain degree. I'm definitely more on Linux and Mac nowadays more than I am Windows, except for my work computer. My work computer's suffering. um,
Mm-hmm.
but
Man, I don't
then
know how
and I also used to have. I still have an iPad. It's gonna go under soon. um, but I don't care. And then like I also have a Pixel phone, which I have, which is
Mm-hmm.
the recent addition, and now I know too much about Android, I guess.
the question is with
How tired are you? Or is it like 1:40 something in the morning?
Oh, it's 3 a.m., but it's fine.
3 Man, I'm so sorry.
Uh,
But
no, it's fine.
thank you for your time. It was
It's fine. I'm a night owl, so used to it. So it's
yeah.
not, it's within my schedule even. That's funny. Oh well. Huh.
Yeah. All right. Half an hour later, before we
Mm-hmm.
were supposed to wrap up.
Yeah,
Sorry for
it's fine.
yeah. It's
No, no,
awesome to have
don't
you.
worry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it
And
was nice.
I think people would really benefit to hear what it's like from a develop what the world is like from a developer, uh,
I mean,
rather
I
than
hope
from just
so. Yeah, but like, yeah, I hope so. I hope like people like get this a different perspective, but I have like no idea what their perspective is right now. You know,
from
because this is my world. This is like,
what I hear
yeah,
is you want people to talk more and
yeah. Oh
hate less,
yes. Well, no.
complain
Ideally,
less, but be nice. Be nice to your
ideally, I want them
developers.
to both talk less and complain less, please.
Okay.
Like we don't really need like how like every single GitLab comment be made into like a drama blog post, like things like that. It gets tiring after a while. Yeah,
and if
yeah.
people were to theoretically complain to you or have a way to follow your work, where would they go?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really into the following thing. For like, it's funny because like I don't have like social media in general. I have like a Mastodon account that's like for only for like to yell at people for the most part. I'm not joking. That's
It's
like
for output, not input.
yeah, very much. So I don't know. If you find my accounts, if you wanna like follow my blog, you can follow that. It's like Concord
It's
here
the
there.
GNOME blog, right?
Yeah, the GNOME blog.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like otherwise, it's like I don't really have like noteworthy things to say like on a day-to-day basis.
And the final question, most important
Uh
question
huh.
of all. What
Uh
is
huh.
a la tierra?
Drum
It's
roll,
basically
please.
this.
What is it?
It's a salt can, literally. It's a Greek word.
Oh,
Yeah. Because as you might have noticed, I get like very salty for various topics, and like I used to play video games, and people would like uh, people would like come and like spam Yeah, it was like, oh, it was like what, 10 years ago or so. And back then Twitch was like very in the meta, and they had like this emoji with the salt can. And I was like, yes, I would rage all the time for like,
Yeah, because I googled it and I didn't know
yeah,
what it was because you were the only
yeah,
result basically. It was like because like when
yeah,
when you try to search something and if it's in Greek, like it doesn't know unless you actually type it out like in Greek.
exactly. See,
So it's like
it's
wow.
excellent. Yeah, it's excellent anti SEO SEO tactics and all that. And
That
it's funny because like I don't even have like any other social media, so whenever people like Google my name, they will either find the GitLab account or the Facebook and Instagram account of like some random people. And I wonder if like these people ever have like got hate mail or something like that.
Hate mail
But
about
yeah,
being a developer complaining about some problem.
yeah. How dare you take away my X11, my precious?
sir, I just work at a McDonald's.
Yeah, pretty much.
All
So
right.
yeah, it's very funny.
Well, this is also a reminder that if software developers are broke, then I am too. Okay, that's half joking, half joking. I have enough money to keep myself going at least for basic channel operations as long as I don't buy hardware. Don't make me do that. Don't make me do that.
I
Uh,
mean, it depends. Like most software developers are like have a decent job usually because tech is like one of these sectors that still pays money, thankfully.
I
But
don't
yeah,
work
it's
in
not
the
like
I
it's
don't
not
work in the
mad
tech
money.
industry. I won't say what, but I
Yeah,
don't work in the tech industry.
yeah. I'm saying like for the other like the rest of the developers, but it's like still not enough or like
Yeah.
nearly like close enough to have. It's good enough to like have an affordable living, I would say, but not enough to like.
Not
Uh,
enough to own a home.
yeah, not enough to have dignity.
So if you liked everything you heard just now in the last 2.5 hours, uh, you can always like, subscribe, and I have probably future me is gonna kick me for this for actually finding sources for literally everything that was said in this thing, because
Oh,
I did that for George, and I can do that for you too because you gave me the
oh,
links, and I can
mm-hmm.
at least link some things to thing.
Yeah.
Not everything. I'm not gonna link misinformation. That's not my
Mm-hmm.
mo. Uh, and so if you want to find out more about those things, you can always visit my website, trafotin.com. And as always, if you like, subscribe, or give me money on Patreon or cryptocurrency, which I had to recover recently and barely opened, and got two people who gave me money because and then like the money that I got like from like people like a couple years ago appreciated because crypto boom of Orange Man. So now it's actually double what it was back then. So
But you still cannot
profit,
buy a home.
and I'm probably never gonna use it. But it's just kidding.
Crypto sucks.
I could actually use it. There are plenty of services that I use that would take it. They're not illegal. Just if you wanted to pay for my VPN service, you could, or buy gift cards. I don't know to like. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not a joke. That's not a joke. There's stuff like coin cards exist.
Yes.
You can buy gift cards
Yes.
with your
Please
crypto.
send me all your gift cards.
No, if you send me your crypto so I can turn them into gift cards.
Or that.
It'd be like a pittance because it's only like $20 in like 4 years. Wow, what a profit. I make more in working 1 hour of my life.